About to go live with Permanent Mark. All right, how you doing, Mark?
Good, man. You can see me all right?
Yeah,
I'm a bit blind, so I can't fucking see very much. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me get myself in the fucking light. I gotta set my little, pay. What's that porn thing? All right, there we go.
There we go, nice one.
All right, man. What's going on?
Oh, not too much. Just had a busy day there working, and
Oh, poor baby.
yeah.
Nah, it's good times when you can make money in tattooing still. That was one of the good things about the coronavirus. It seems to me the business picked up. The fucking tattoo business is kind of shitting itself, for the average person. And suddenly it came back with a fucking vengeance. But that's in the past for me.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I think a lot of people kind of they either started playing more video games or they started doing more artwork, right?
Hey man, I'll tell you what, people started hustling real quick. Everybody became a fucking artist overnight. Luckily,
Yeah.
I jumped fucking shit 2 years before in 2019 and just concentrating on my art now. So I was already kind of moving when it happened, so it didn't really affect me, thank God. But yeah, I'm kind of happy that happened. No, I'm not happy it happened, but it didn't really affect me, thank God, I gotta say. That whole thing. I don't think it, a lot of tattooers kept working through that shit. They said they weren't, but they were there with a fucking paper on the windows. I saw you fucking cheating bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, hey?
So how's Canada, man? What's going on?
Canada's all right, I got my own studio going on here now, and I kind of got away from the street shop situation. But I did that before Corona. I did that about a year before Corona, so I kind of had a heads up on that.
Well, if you can get to that point in your career, that's a good place to be. Getting appointments, if you can just do that, then what the fuck do you want to sit in a shop and listen to everybody bitch and complain about the whole time? You know what I mean? Plus, some of these fucking people coming in nowadays are like ridiculous. The shit they ask for is just driving me fucking crazy, Well, shit like, I want a circle with a fucking triangle on my finger and Roman fucking numerals on my ribs. I mean, that's the kind of shit I was getting towards the end of my career, and I was like 30 years in a business, and I'm like, I feel like a fucking janitor in a hotel, apart from I should be the chief surgeon in here, and I'm like getting the fucking scraps, and I was like, this is too demoralizing. So I just felt like the universe was telling me, look, mate, time to retire from this shit, start paying. So I went with my chi, man, and I ended up here.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you're focusing on your art, because you're doing some incredible stuff, man. You really are.
It's like a big circle, isn't it? I mean, I started off in the art when I first ran away to Venice back in 1984 from England, and I was painting, and that was what I was doing, surviving on my paintings on the boardwalk, not very well. And then I got into the movie business for a bit with Roger Corman there in Venice Beach doing sets. And then I got sick of that in '89, and then Tattoo Bob in Venice Beach, who was the sergeant at arms for the Heathens, took me under his wing and gave me an apprenticeship. And to be perfectly honest, he didn't know much about anything anyway. He was a real biker tattooer, everything was bought from Spalding and Rogers. We were using 6 flats. And the funny thing about that fucking story is that every fucking poser hotshot now in a fucking convention who's sitting there with a line around the fucking convention, and they're doing a rose like this with a single needle and skip shading, was the shit I used to do in the beginning 30 fucking years ago. And then everybody like Running Bear and everybody were like, that's totally wrong. You got to use magnums and you got to put water in your fucking gray. And so, I completely switched. And then now it's gone full fucking circle. And then now everybody's getting that shit again. So, I'm like, fucking hell. And I was, like I said, an artist. And then I got the tattoo career, and it helped me, travel and pay my way around the world. But never in my wildest dreams did I think that I could make money on fucking art. It was only when I was destitute about 2.5 years ago and lost everything, and I was fucking penniless and, like 6 months behind on my rent, that I literally had fuck all left to sell or anything. The only thing I had was my fucking hands, and I had a stilt screen table. And then I came out with the Horioshi and Felix Lou prints, and I sold the shit out of them. And, you know, I paid my rent off and I got back on my feet and I was just like, Jesus Christ, it was amazing. So it was a great feeling. So I'd like to thank everybody out there that's invested in my paintings and my art, because you've definitely given me a new fucking look on life. And it's definitely a very happy place that I'm in right now. And I'm going to take this shit to the end with me until I die. You know, I'll always knock out the old tattoo. I'm always be a tattooer. I'm not saying I'm done, but I don't want to live off this shit no more. I don't want to have to pay my fucking rent and my bills and from, you know, having to do a tattoo. I just don't want to have to do it no more, because I'm not really into it, to be perfectly fucking honest. And I like doing hand pokes and fucking around and drunk tattoos. I love that shit. But apart from that, you guys can have it. Welcome, motherfuckers. All you new kids, have it. Fucking go. Get the piranhas in the fucking field, man.
How long have you been doing collage art now?
Fucking hell, about 10 years ago I had a show, and I was doing these weird kind of Picasso. I was doing images of like famous artist paintings with their paintings, with lots of all their paintings, and making an image out of it. And that was a long time ago. I sold a few to the Hammer Museum, and this yeah. So it was good. I sold real well. But then I stopped for a while. The tattooing, you know, it was really hard to tattoo and to do art. I find it really hard to do both, because one is kind of art as well. So to like, after a full day of tattooing, to go home and do a full day a night of art was always too hard. But now that I can just concentrate on fucking art, you know, it's definitely a difference.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing with the lockdown. It was like, suddenly I was kind of like, oh, now I can sit here and just fucking paint anything I want. But what do I want to paint, you know?
Well, that's the thing, man, you know, and then you got to push yourself. For me, art is all about keeping interested. And that's why my styles are constantly kind of morphing, because as soon as I get bored, I try to get into something new, maybe clay or collages or printing or this new shit that I'm doing now. And I don't know where I'm going to end up, but it just kind of, I always keep it interesting. I always keep it where the next day I want to get up and I want to get in the fucking studio, because I'm excited about doing an image. And I find that that's the trick to it, just to always keep going. And watercolors burnt me out, or flash, you know, after 30 fucking years of doing flash. And everybody got way better at it, you know. I mean, when I was doing flash in the old days, nobody was really doing it. So everybody was like, whoa, oh, it was like shit, to be honest, if you look at it now, of what people are doing. But, you know, tattooing just evolved leaps and bounds, and the same thing with art. Just got better and better out there, you know. So there's just no way I could compete doing that traditional fucking spit shading shit anymore. And it's been done. People have seen it, so fucking I add to it.
But I think there's something to be said for the folk art, the tangible art.
Yeah.
It's almost becoming a dying art form now. Like, everybody's doing stuff on iPads. Everybody's making everything crispy clean, and with all the help of technology. And people that are actually doing hands-on stuff, there is a newfound appreciation for it all over again, I feel like, you know, and they, especially when it's from a real place, they go, oh, fuck yeah, I want that. I think that's another reason why your stuff sold and saved your ass the way it did, because, you know, not only is it representing some of the most important people in tattooing and saluting that and everything, which is so important to be doing now with, you know, new tattoo artists not even knowing the history of who anybody is anymore, you know?
I mean, for me, it was more like a kind of a necessity, and it was just something I knew. And most of my following are tattooers and people involved in the tattoo business. So, you know, a natural subject matter was tattoo artists that I've worked with. So I did that for a while. Then I just kind of split off and did more art faggy shit and sold to more your mainstream houses and stuff with the native series. But yeah, you know, it all comes back around. And, you know, of course, with this series right now, it's all about, again, just trying to pay homage to people that have, you know, helped me out in my career, and people that weren't total pricks. I mean, they were pricks, but in a good way, you know, like the old school way. You know, when I got taught how to tattoo, I was yelled at on a daily, and even in Amsterdam with Hank, I was yelled at on a fucking daily, and I didn't walk away crying and fucking yelled at me. You know, like nowadays you say one fucking thing and everybody wants to get their knickers in a fucking twist. So,
Yeah.
you know, back then it was just what was up, and you took it and you grew from it. You know, and I like that shit. You know, it's, you know, I think an apprenticeship has to be all about breaking somebody down, forgetting everything they think they know, and then building them back up. You know, and then finding what their talent is. It could be, you know, fine line or fucking color or traditional. Everybody has a certain talent, and then you kind of gravitate towards that thing. But apprenticeships are important, you know, but unfortunately nowadays people don't really want to deal with 4 or 5 years of a grumpy old bastard like me telling them what to do. They don't have it in them, you know. And I mean, I'm a bit of a prick, but I'm not a total prick, you know what I mean? I'm not like always barking. I mean, I let people pretty much figure it out by themselves, because that's what happened to me. There's only so much looking over someone's fucking shoulder you can do. They got to put the tattoos on, you know, not me. And the more tattoos, the better you get. But also with these fucking rotary machines, you know, not that I've ever tried one, but from what I see, you know, people are tattooing for 3 months and doing a belly piece that's incredible. I'm like, holy fuck. You know, that would have taken me 10 years of knowledge to figure that one out. So I know with equipment too, it's getting easier for people to apply the tattoos as well.
I think it is, yeah. I think you're right.
I've never used them, but, you know, friends of mine, I started using them, and I'm not a total snob about it. I just got out of the business right before they became too easy. You know, I was like, all right, it's too late for me to start that shit. I'm just going to keep nailing with my old fucking machine. Yeah.
So you said, was it 1989 that you started tattooing?
No. I started 89.
89.
Yeah, in Venice Beach, California, Tattoo Bob's. It was the only tattoo shop in Venice, because he was a sergeant of the heathens, and he was a terrifying character. So he would, you know, just burn your fucking shop down if he opened up. So that was my first introduction to, like, you know, tattoo. And it was like, you go to work and he'd be like, you broke the fucking luciograph. And those are before photocopy machines, you know. And I go in the office and there's a big line of crank about this long, you know, like serious biker speed. And I'm like, do it. And I'm like, oh man, you know, Paul, we're gonna fucking do it, you know. So I'd have to do a big line of crank, and you know, that was just part of the goddamn thing, so he can talk to his brothers without thinking I was a cop. You know, so it was just like this kind of, you know, we used to tattoo all the criminals, and then the late 80s, that was when everything was happening. There was a Venice Shoreline Crips who were tattooing, the Rolling 60s. We were one of the few people that would tattoo him. He didn't give a fuck, so there was constantly like gang shootouts in front. It was a real hostile time in Venice anyway. I remember behind me was a glass sliding door, and I had cinder block walls because there was so many fucking drive-bys. But, you know, those were the biker days, you know, and I loved that shit, so fuck it, you know. Actually, Kurt Wiscombe, I don't know if he's out there watching this shit, but he was in there getting tattooed by Tattoo Bob, so he knows who I'm talking about, maybe a few other people watching, but they had the pleasure of meeting him, R.I.P.
Nice one, nice.
So, yeah, after that, Venice, I fucked up to South Africa in about 90. Yeah, because I was fucking around with Bob for a few years, 88, 89. About 90, I went down there, and it was just an open market. There was just no tourists, really, because the sanctions were still on. I found this huge space for $300 a month. I had the first tattoo shop in Cape Town, Steel Toe Tattoo, me and my buddy Dean. And I stayed there for a while, and then I really wanted a job at Hanky Panky's in Amsterdam, and I kept going there for a job. He kept kicking me out. I think he kicked me out 3 fucking times until he let me sit in one day, and then I finally got in and got a job, and that kind of changed my career, because as soon as, you know, you used to tell people back in the 90s you work for Hanky Panky, and then everything changes. You know, you can do anything you want. You can work anywhere. Yeah. You can fucking, you know, I would call Louisiana, hey, I want to go to the convention. Well, we're full. Oh, it's Hanky Panky. Oh, okay, yeah, we'll make a booth. Then he wouldn't show up. I'd say, oh, he's sick or some shit. But it was that much juice. So that went on for a while, mate. What can I say? That went on for, I don't know, about 7 years in Amsterdam, and then shit got weird over there. You know, just a lot of crazy times and parties. Not for me, just a lot of things around the shop. So I split, and then I just traveled for a while and ended up in Japan. And that's how I ended up in Japan in 97. For fucking 7 years.
You were there 7 years.
Yeah, and that was, my daughter and my wife were from Japan, and so that was a kind of a knee-jerk reaction because people would say, oh, PM, you know, he does a great tattoo, a traditional tattoo, but he can't do any Japanese tattoos. So I fucking moved there, hung out with Horioshi and shit, and had a great 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a lot over there. It was quite amazing.
It's epic, man. What was I gonna ask you? Oh yeah, so I gotta say, man, like that TV series you did, Permanent Mark, that was what, in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Man, I gotta say that's my favorite tattoo show I've seen.
You know, this is a classic example of how stupid it is over here. It was like, it took me 7 years to get that fucking thing on the air. I was getting it, and I was in the door, and then Miami Ink popped up, and then they go, oh, no, there's no room for 2 TV shows on the networks. So they canned that one for about 2 years or a year and a half. Then I got a call from a company I was trying to get the job through, and then History Channel and Spike wanted me to do PM, and I turned down History because they wanted me to be like a fucking professor, like a kind of a know-it-all, and I didn't want to do that. And Spike TV fucking bamboozled me, kind of. I had a big lawyer meeting. There was a shitload of us. It was on those big fucking tables, and this bitch comes in, the head producer of that company, and she's all like, so Mark, tell me why I like you. I hate tattoos and blah, 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 blah. But Mike Duffy says you're a great guy, and I want to know why I should give you a shout. And I was like, look, Sharon, you might not know this, but 1 out of 4 fucking Americans are tattooed, all right? And I bet you half your fucking crony lawyers here are tattooed, and you don't even fucking know about it. And sure as shit, 5 of them were tattooed that she didn't know about. So they, oh, okay, I like this guy. And they said, we want to see partying and drugs and fucking all the crazy shit. So I filmed the show Crazy. I went out there, I filmed Crazy, I got crazy, and I got back, and then they go, oh, this is too crazy. I don't believe this. We have to cut this and cut that and cut this. And then it just became a pain in the fucking ass. And then my producer wasn't liking the Spike, and it was just this fucking war. And then finally, it came down to, you know, they want to do a new format, and that was Ink Masters.
Fuck.
It was just something that I personally didn't really want to deal with, just on my personal level. I have friends that are involved in that, and that's totally cool. But for me, my show that I was trying to always do was a National Geographic thing. You come with me on a trip. You know, I'm going to go to Borneo, take a ride with me. You know, like, if you can't make it, do it on your fucking couch. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's just something that I was always doing, because everywhere I ever traveled, I always invited my fucking friends. You know, all my friends in this business will tell you that I took them there first, and I took them there first in that temple or whatever. But so for me, it was just a natural kind of thing. And instead of having friends with me, I had a film crew with me. But unfortunately, they wanted to change that shit, and there it went, and it was out the door, and it was finished.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Because it was the most interesting. It was the most real. I can't believe they cut a bunch of shit too. I would love to have fucking seen all the.
It was a fucking hour. They put it in half an hour. I mean, I was robbed in fucking Thailand. They had it on film. They didn't believe it. It was true. It was just all kinds of shit.
Oh man.
You know, so it was just like one of those things. But and then there was that scene where I'm in Borneo, and I had a feeling they were gonna have me kill this pig.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it, because I used to go to all the board meetings back then. I used to wear bandanas a lot, and I had fucking bandana every board meeting I was in. So finally, on the first day of shooting, we're in fucking Tokyo, nighttime. I'm knackered. It's cold, and it's like, okay, you know, action. And I don't know what the fuck I was pretty much doing. So I'm like kind of having a hard time figuring this shit out with a bunch of people around me. And then the guy goes, oh, hold on, cut. Straight from, what do they say? Main office or whatever. And they took the bandana off me. And they said, you look too menacing in a bandana. So right away, I was kind of thrown off. But I was like, fuck it, whatever. And then when I was in Borneo, I knew they were going to have me kill this fucking pig. So I'm like, hey, Philippe, you're going to have me kill this pig, I know it. And I'll do the fucking thing, but I'm wearing a bandana. So this motherfucker had to send this fucking cunt up the fucking hill and up a tree, and he's calling headquarters back in Beverly Hills. Yeah, hello, yeah, Sheriff, yeah. You know, PM, he won't kill the pig unless he's wearing a bandana. God damn it, we'll let him wear the fucking bandana. So I have my bandana on, and then the dude comes and puts some hair over it and all that, you know, so I didn't look like full gangster. And then they brought me the fucking pig in a goddamn, in a fucking potato bag. And they brought me a spear and I said, you know, let's stab the fucking thing. And I said, well, that's bullshit, you know. I said, well, this is what Bourdain did. I said, well, fuck Bourdain. You know, how do you do it? And they go, well, we cut the fucking throat. I said, well, I'm going to cut the fucking throat. You know, if you're going to do it, I'm going to do it. So they gave me the fucking knife and we got this goddamn pig. And then I had to, like, you know, cut it. I said, I'll do it. So I made sure I did it one fucking time, killed it immediately. Yeah. But it was just one of those things that, you know, this is what these people do up there. And I was in their territory and it wasn't something that I took pleasure in. But at the same time, we ate every fucking bit of that pig, that village. And it was a little one. Pigs don't get big like here over there. And so I just remember the only part they didn't eat was the asshole. They cut it out and threw it in the fucking river. And then I was presented with the nose, being the guest of honor. So I had to chew on the fucking nose for hours of this fucking poor pig.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some pretty raw footage for sure. But yeah, like you say, I mean, it was like you were doing what they did. I'm glad you didn't just do it in the potato sack. You know, because
exactly.
It felt like the real experience. It was
such a chicken shit move, white boy move, you know. And I was just like, you know, listen, I came here to fucking do what you guys do, and I'm gonna do what you guys do, and, you know. And I said my piece with this damn pig, and there was the end of it. You know what I mean? And to be fucking perfectly honest with you, mate, at that point, I'd been up in that jungle for about 10 fucking days. And although we were right on a goddamn lake or river or whatever the fuck it was, there was no fish in the fucking river. So it was just like all we ate every night was chicken. It was chicken. So, you know, as soon as I thought, fucking pig, I was like, oh, hell yeah, you know. But by the end of it, we got 2 little pieces each on a plate. Because everything in the longhouse gets shared equally. I mean, the chief and everybody gets the same. The chief gets the same. Like when we brought him all the toys for the kids and the crayons and the candy and the fucking balloons, they literally laid on a mat and counted it like 20 ways, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and everybody got the same shit, which is great to watch, you know, in a society like this.
And they were like a headhunting tribe, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Borneo. And Gandalf was the old dude. He was like 91 years old, this fucking guy. And he looked like he was 70. But I just remember trying to catch up with him. And inside the forest, you know, the jungle, it was so goddamn humid. And you know, I'm African. I was born in North Africa, raised over there. So I like the heat. But that shit was a different kind of heat. It was extremely wet, almost like you're in a shower just everywhere you're going, and slippery as fuck. But it was incredible because I hadn't been there before. You know, I'd been to Japan, obviously. I'd been to Thailand. So on that trip, Borneo was the first place that I hadn't really been to. So for me, it was very exciting. And it was actually the last place we went to on the trip. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I think they released it with, I think the Japanese one was the last show they released, right?
It was Japan, Thailand, and then there.
Okay.
But, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, that was about it.
How about the origins of Golden Eagle? That's your shop over in Santa Barbara, right?
No, I sold it about 4 years ago.
Okay.
I sold it about 4 years ago to some friends, and then about 2.5 years ago, I parted ways. And then that's when I concentrated on my art. And that's since then I've been here. And I haven't really been around anywhere. You know, I don't really go to tattoo shops unless it's like, you know, Bob Roberts or some friends of mine shop down in LA, or Hank's in Amsterdam. But I've never been a guy to really hang out in tattoo shops. So I was always on holiday, and I'm like, the last place I want to go, and all my friends are like, let's go in here. And I'm like, I don't want to go in there. I want to go to the beach.
Yeah.
A fucking bar, dude. You know, we're in Thailand. Why do I want to go and look at these fucking guys? Hot tattoos. Charlie Roberts would be in there, and I'm like, see you at the bar, motherfuckers. But yeah, So yeah, so Santa Barbara is just art for me now. I moved here after Japan, so I've been here about 15 years. It's a nice place to live.
Have you been doing art your whole life? Like when you grew up in
Yeah,
South
my mother
Africa?
was a painter. She was a great artist. She did some amazing paintings, and she was an oil painter. So ever since I can remember, I was painting. So for me, I'm a way better artist than I am a tattooer, and I'll just say it the way it is. I'm a good tattooer. I'm not shit, and I'm not amazing. I would give myself a 7.5, you know, honestly. But art, I like a lot. I think I'm way better at art. I've always felt that way. And I've seen actually tattooers that are way better tattooers than they are artists as well, for some reason. So it can be that. I guess you can't have it all. But I like the art, so I'm happy. Tattooing is very technical. The one thing about my art now is the last thing I want to do is get tight and technical, you know, and perfect. I spent 30 years trying to make a fucking clean line, you know. It's the last thing I want to do with any of my art right now. That's why I try to keep loose and quick and messy and a little bit, but at the same time kind of detailed but close up messy. And that's what I enjoy doing, you know. The illusion of clean, but it isn't.
Right. So yeah, what can you say about some of the process of that? Like
This new stuff I'm doing now is like a cyanotype, and probably people have done it in school. You've probably been to hotels where they have this kind of blue images with like a negative of flowers, or like always this negative. But this guy in the 1850s, I can't remember his fucking name, but he was the first guy to kind of expose something on paper with these two chemicals that I use. So I got the two chemicals. I can't pronounce them, ferric carboxide and some other potassium barbicide. So, you know, you put certain amounts in a couple bottles, and then you have them separate, and then you mix them, and they activate. And then I paint them on paper, just big sheets of it, and I let them dry overnight. And then the next day, I'll rip them into pieces. And this is about 70 negatives, and I'll cut the picture down into like a bunch of different pieces. And I'll get transparencies made, negatives, like a negative of a black and white picture. And then I'll put the paper in the sun. I expose each piece in the sun, and it develops in water with peroxide. I let them dry, and then I put them together like a puzzle, and then I paint on top of them. So it's a bit of a process, but it's kind of you know, people have used this technique, but they've never really used it in this kind of way, I think. So, but I've always been like fascinated with like multiple images together to make an image. You know, like when I was a kid, I went to see a David Hockney show in England in the Tate, and it was something that just blew my fucking mind. It was when he just did the photographs, and anybody that knows Hockney and his pictures, so he'd take basically 100 or 1,000 photos and put them together, and you'd like be looking outside of a car. There's a Pear Blossom Highway one, which is gorgeous. So it was really pretty amazing. So that's always had me fascinated, like using photographs to create art, you know. And also Warhol, I guess, in a way, but I never really liked Warhol in the very beginning years ago, but now I do. I never really liked Van Gogh until I went to the museum and put those headphones on and got into what he was thinking. Now I love the shit. I mean, I don't really like the fucking sunflowers and the fucking starry night, but I love his goddamn portraits. I mean, when you look at his portraits, they're just kind of pulsating, these fucking things. You know, there's a whoa, whoa, whoa. You go to the Van Gogh Museum and you stare at that thing, it's like the whole thing is moving. So yeah, it's interesting. But art's interesting. It's always fascinated me, and I was lucky. I spent a lot of time in London with my dad as a kid, and I used to go to the National Museum and the Tate and all that. So I've always been really into art.
Very cool. And you do like a wash over top of your
Yeah, basically these are a bunch of pictures. You know, they're like individual snapshots. I just made one today of my mate Running Bear, which is going to be a new one. So there's a lot of different images.
Yeah, cool.
There's a lot of different, yeah. So basically, you can see on the back, it's just kind of patched together. So then I put them together, and then I paint over them. And I use a kind of a lighter paint to I use a lighter paint, so it's kind of see-through. Otherwise, it just covers the image, you know. It's
Right.
a cheating. You know what it is? It's cheating. You know, it's like if I could do every tattoo with a Magnum. That's what it's like, and I'm cutting out the fucking outline. You know what I mean? Because the difficult part is to paint a portrait or whatever. I mean, you could do it, but I don't know. For me, I'm going to go to Spain here soon and see my mother. She's 95 in Mallorca. So I'm taking some oil paints with me, and that's going to be my project there, is to fuck with oils. And she was an oil painter. So I want to learn and teach myself some of that. I've always been scared of it, but yeah, I figure that's what I'm going to get into. I'm not saying I'm going to get into oil painting next. I might, but I'm definitely going to fuck with it over there, because I don't think I'm going to have access to what I have here on the road, you know. So we'll see. I actually got one of those lucid things, you know, which is the optics, where you look through and you can trace on the ground or what you see.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those things, yeah.
I got one of those fucking things on Amazon just to see what the hell, because I know that there's all these theories that Da Vinci and everybody back then were using optics, and people say they weren't, but there was such a massive jump between like portraits real fast within 100 years, where they were kind of flat, and now suddenly they're totally three-dimensional. So, yeah. So I'm going to fuck with that, because I'm not very good at landscape, so I figure if I use the optics, I can fuck with it, play with it. I don't even know. I just want to keep teaching myself, mate, you know. I just want to keep teaching myself, keep interested in it, you know. Like
for
I
sure,
said,
for sure.
Nothing left.
So what, you said something about you're part of a museum show, was it? Or like a gallery show, like some gallery shows and stuff like that?
Oh, I've done a lot, man. You know, I mean, I had a lot of solo shows, and I had 3 in Japan, big ones. And in my career, I've always done quite a lot. The most recent one was in LA, and I just basically did a guerrilla action thing. I had a friend of mine, Melissa, like, looked for a place down there. She had a place perfect. So I just took it over for one night. It was big empty rooms, had a show. The next day it was out. I made all the money for myself, you know, fuck the gallery owner. Fuck all the bullshit, fuck your guest list, you know, drink all my wine. Although I had like 3 bottles of very shitty wine. But the liquor store was next door. So I'd tell everybody, hey, you know, I got beer and this shit wine, but I did it very cheap with Gorilla. Because I didn't have much money, you know what I mean? I put it all into my art, so fuck it. But I like doing that kind of stuff, you know. I like to have them at pubs and bars and bring your own people, you know. I mean, that's not to say that if a big gallery didn't say, hey, we want to do something with you, but they're going to take half my fucking money, you know. They better sell some shit.
Yeah.
For a lot, you know. Yeah. So that's about it. I'm just right now painting and doing it. Every day I do shit. I do art. Every day, 6 days a week at least, maybe 7. And my idea is, you know, when I'm fucking dead, or when I'm about to die or dead, I just want there to be like a storeroom full of shit. Just full of art that you could just, my kid could auction off for like a couple $100 each and still make 50 grand, because it's just full. So my idea is just to leave a bunch of crap, and that's it. So that's going to be what I leave to the world. A couple of years ago, I started thinking about what the fuck am I really, you know, leaving? What have I really done? Okay, I'm a tattooer, but who gives a fuck in the grand scheme of things, you know? What else can I do in my life? I don't want to just die as a fucking tattooer, no disrespect, but that's just the way I felt. So I thought, what can I do? So, you know, for me, like, if these paintings I'm doing are hanging in tattoo shops, and the tattooers have kids, they inherit the shop, they inherit the painting, they have kids, they inherit it. So in a way, you know, the paintings are going to outlast the motherfucking tattoos. And that's the object, is to have something that's, you know, hanging on the wall that was as if we had like an original goddamn Percy Waters on the wall or something, you know what I mean? What was that, 100 years ago? You know, I mean, 100 years ain't that long, man, you know, really, in the grand scheme of things. So as long as there's still a planet, there's going to be tattooing. So who knows? Maybe one day people will be like, oh my God, permanent art. And they'll make like, you know, sacrilege my shit like they did with Sailor Jerry and make socks and fucking air fresheners out of my shit. That guy must be rolling over in his coffin, fucking Sailor Jerry right now. every time. He's not fucking happy over there, wherever he is.
He didn't even drink, and he's on the rum bottle, right?
Hey, mate, you know what I mean? What the fuck? So funny. I mean, can you imagine an air freshener with his shit on it? He'd be so pissed. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. I'm not going to be a Bob Ross, though, man. I'll make sure, or a Sailor Jerry. I'll make sure that my shit is taken care of.
Yeah.
I want no fucking unless my kid wants to expose, use my name. Fuck it. She can do it. I don't give a fuck. Okay, good. Nice.
I remember the last time I saw you, I was in Santa Barbara visiting my sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you gave me a sticker, and it was the California Burger sticker.
Oh yeah.
You gave me a few of those, and I actually went to Winnipeg shortly after that, and I gave Kurt Wiscombe actually one of those stickers as well. He's like, "What's this?" And I was mentioning, "Oh yeah, he started a burger joint in." PM started a burger joint in was it Spain, right?
Yeah, Palma, Mallorca. It was cool. It was kind of a knee-jerk reaction to my father's death. He had a small apartment in London, so like, he left me a little bit of money. It wasn't a fuckload, but it was enough. And he told me, "Look, I don't want you to invest in tattoo, and I want you to try something else." And he had a restaurant when I was young. And he always told me, "Don't open a fucking restaurant." And I remember how much he worked. And I always said I'd never open a restaurant. And life is just like that. What do? I open a fucking restaurant. And it's just so funny. So originally I was trying to get an apartment in Spain. So I got bought into an apartment in Spain. And at the last minute, the banks wouldn't give me a fucking loan for the apartment. So they screwed me out of it. So I had this money. It was kind of burning a hole in my pocket. At that time, somebody offered me this space, which was beautiful. And I said, "Listen, man, rock and roll bar? Fuck yeah. There's no rock and roll music in Spain. It's all techno and fucking house music. Fucking sucks. You tell me you go by a place playing Black Sabbath, you ain't going to go in there." So I made it like crazy. All my art collection, Harley Davidson's on the ceiling. All we did was burgers with an Argentinian chef. And all we did was the meat and veggie meat. And then you could just put whatever you wanted on there. And it was packed all the time. The only problem is the taxes in Europe. They call it Social Security. 80% of what I paid my staff, I had to pay to the government. So if I paid you $2,000, 80% of $2,000, I'd have to pay to the government for schools and hospitals. So every 2 months I get like a 40 grand bill, and then it'd be like, if you don't pay this within a week, you're closed. So it was constantly, you could never really make enough money. Like even though I was busy every night, full. Within a year, we're the third best hamburgers in Europe, and we were voted like the 10 best things to do in Europe. It was like we were all over the fucking place. I couldn't make it work. It was impossible because of their fucking system. So at a certain point, luckily before coronavirus, I got out of there and got rid of it and came back. And that's exactly when everything hit the fan. I kind of lost everything and went back to the bottom. But you know what, mate? I have lost my shit 4 times, 5 times in my life, all of it, and I made it again. And I've lost it, and I made it, and I lost it. I've had money 4 or 5 times in my life, and I've had no money. You know what I mean? It is one or the other. And I can honestly tell you, I was never necessarily any happier with money. Flying everywhere, partying everywhere, drinking, I never introduced myself to anybody more interesting. It was the same ass shit. In fact, the only thing it did for me was make me more lazy, to be perfectly honest. So I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to hang out after tattooing so many fucking years. So, for me, it was like, whatever. So when I had nothing and I had to do something, that's when the universe kicked me in my ass. And then now I got this, and I'm a way happier person for it,
Yeah, and lights a fire under your ass.
It was a fucking disaster over there. My mother's still there. I want to open the bar to support my mother because I like the island for her to live on. They're real nice. The hospitals are great. It's free, So anyway, there you go. So that was the end of that. Over.
So it's interesting. You've done a bit of everything, and ultimately, what it comes down to is, you can be happiest when you're just doing your artwork and you're just fucking doing everything DIY on your own, right?
It's a lot of soul searching, mate. And at 52, you know, it's a lot of soul searching. I'm 54 now, but back then, you know, it was like, what the fuck am I really doing? You know, is this it for the rest of my fucking life, really? And I'm an Aries, and I've always been antsy, and I tried magazines in Japan and clothing lines, and I had all the shit, the TV. I tried so much shit, the bar, you know, I can't, everything. It all mostly failed, but I had a great try at it. But, you know, in the end, you got to find out what you like to do and figure out a way to have that support you. You know what I mean? And in America, you can do that. And now with Instagram and social media, like 99% of my sales are Instagram. I mean, everything is through Instagram. I don't even bother with a big cartel or any of that shit because I want to talk to somebody on Instagram. People actually message me and ask me about shit. So it's more interesting. I know where the piece is going. I know who the people are. So it's a bit more one-on-one. But, you know, because of that, you know, we can bring our crafts, our products. Maybe you like to make leather belts. Maybe the other dude likes to make hats. You know, I mean, anything but just tattooing every fucking day. Tattooing's cool and, you know, pay the bills. But the long run, what tattooing should be fun money. You know, tattooing should be the money you take to Vegas or go and have the one night where you go buy a bag of blow and have a good time.
Yeah.
That's what I always wanted tattooing to be for me. I wanted something else paying my bills, you know what I mean? Right, I wanted that to be the cherry on top, tattooing.
Yeah, so one thing I kind of thought about when I was just making art there during lockdown was like, you know, there was this kind of looming idea. I mean, I make art all the time anyway, but there's this looming idea of like, what am I fucking saying with my art? And does that even matter anyway? Or should I just make art that I like?
Exactly. Well, this is the thing. You got to find the honey spot between what you want to do and what sells. Because then you can make a bit of money, or you just do some shit that you know you're going to sell that you don't mind doing, and you do what you want to do, you know what I mean? Because all that stuff stacks up, and later you have a show with all the stuff you want to do, and people will appreciate it. You see, because like Picasso and shit, you know, nobody understood his craft. The most expensive painting of his is that ugly ass African mask, you know, whatever the hell that one was called. People didn't understand it, but now it's the most expensive painting he has out there. So at the time, people might not get it, but, you know, later they do. Like even these sculptures I was making, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I know one day someone's going to go, oh, fucking thing's cool, you know, like, give me money for it. Because once art's done, it's there. It's money in the bank. Like when I did those prints, I must have done 500 different versions of those. I'm not even joking because I took a record of all of them, and they're all gone. You know, all of them. I mean, I gave some away, you know, whatever, but they're all gone. And that's amazing because I never thought. But slowly through time, somebody wants them down to the last one.
Yeah, interesting.
What might not sell now, people want in a year.
Right.
2 years, you know. But, you know, also with you know, if you like painting, then and you want to make it interesting, then try to make some paper and then paint on top of the paper that you just made. Because that shit's cool. I want to start doing that shit too, you know, where you get the paper and the mush and then lay it out. It's not that fucking hard, and it has a real nice rough texture. Because that just puts another element to your painting as well, right? So it's always trying to think out the box a little bit. Like, what can I make? How can I make this one a bit special? You know, what can I use? Maybe some different mediums, whatever.
Yeah, there's something to be said about being prolific, I think, as well. I mean, you're talking about Picasso, and not a lot of people realize it wasn't just Cubism. He did tons of shit. He did sculptures. He did probably more fucking work than any other modern artist as far as like amount of shit.
And he could paint his ass off. I mean, you see the realistic paintings he did. It was as good as any goddamn oil painting by anybody in the Renaissance. So, you know, people don't realize that the guy could, you know, do that. You know, if you can do that, then you can do anything after that. I don't like people that come in and piss on a painting, but they have no, you know what I mean? You have to have some kind of classic, you know, like technique. You can't fake it. You're a faker unless you can do the original and progress to doing whatever the fuck you want. But yeah, you know, even those people making his pots and all this shit, you know, they'd make him, he design them, but he went in there and painted all over the damn things. And you know. At least he got to enjoy some of his fucking money when he was alive. Huh?
Yeah, that's true. That's
I mean,
kind of a rare thing.
Picasso, you know, the one thing I like about him the most is how he discovered Rousseau. So, I mean, I think that without Picasso, Rousseau, nobody would have ever known. And Rousseau, to me, is one of the best fucking artists out there. The old dude with a big beret, and he made the wild-ass jungle scenes and animals he's never heard of or never seen. I mean, that shit's just mind-blowing. And people still look at him as a joke, but his paintings are amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So what would you say you've kind of got coming up then down the road for as far as art projects and stuff like that? You kind of doing more of the same thing? You found sort of what you love to do, or you mentioned oil painting and stuff?
I want to take this art thing until the wheels fall off. I want to be that old dude in a fucking bed with a long stick drawing on a wall, you know, like talking to myself. You know, that's what I want. With a shitload of art that can get sold and take care of my kids. That's all I give a fuck about. I just want to leave something behind. Whether you like it or not, it's there. Burn it. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. It's there. That's how I feel about it. You know, even when all this shit hit the fan and, you know, and then I was let down by a few friends and shit, it was kind of like, you know, for me, it was really like, all right, well, fuck you, you know, and I really felt like I'm just going to put this shit everywhere. Like, everywhere you go, you're going to see my fucking shit. I want to piss you off, you know, like, I want to, like, be in your face everywhere. And it just drove me to just do a lot of art, just to, like, be out there. And when I get, you know, people will tag me, and in Australia, they walk into a shop and they'll take a picture and there's a Felix Lou hanging above the, you know, where you pay the counter. And I'm like, fuck yeah, you know, and I'm like, that's fucking rad. And it's not even like I know the person even, you know. So it's cool. That's a good feeling. It's a great feeling when people are actually spending their fucking money on my art. I mean, that's the most amazing feeling of all, to be honest with you. And I'm very
definitely. And you're saying it's mostly people within tattoo that
yeah,
have been...
you know, I mean, I'd say about 70%, but it's definitely widening up. But that's just pretty much my audience, and I'm not good on social media, and I don't know how to really hit galleries up. And I'm, you know, I don't have an agent. I don't have anybody that can really kind of help me progress. But you know, I've been an artist now for 2 years, 2.5 years, right? So for me, it's just the beginning, you know. I decided at 52 to start a new career, and this is going to be the final one out of all the ones I've tried in my life. And I'm glad I tried all that stuff. But right now, this is what I want to concentrate on. So, you know, hopefully in 10 years, you know, by then I'll be grooving. And usually for me, you give me 10 years, you put that in my head, and I'm going to come at you with everything I have. When I got off that plane from Japan, you know, I had $60 in my pocket with a family, and Eric Perfect picked me up in New York and took care of me. And I first saw like TV, I think Survivor or something. That's when I first came up with a TV show idea. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be on fucking TV. And people thought, you're fucking crazy. You just got here from Japan, you had $60, you ain't going to do that shit. And I did. And I pursued it. I went to Hollywood. I kept going to these goddamn companies and knocking the fucking door down. And I finally got what I wanted. It didn't really work out, but at least I did it. You know, at least I had a flavor, you know, for me, and it was great, you know. So you can do something. There's no doubt in my mind that if you really want something in life, you can get it, you know, really.
Oh, definitely. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass when I'm saying that that show was my favorite tattoo show, man. Like, it was the real fucking deal. It's legit.
I wish I could have done more. I wish I was approached by different companies, but nobody wanted to take it on, you know. It was kind of sad, which is really surprising to me with the amount of tattoo shows that are on now. But then again, it doesn't matter to me, because if it was meant to happen, I'd be there, you know. But it didn't, so I'm here. So I'm happy here doing this shit. You know what I mean? It's something that I was kind of bitter about for a minute there, obviously, but it's definitely, I have no feeling about it anymore. It's just now I feel like I have the honor to at least do it. I got a free ride around the world to get these cool tattoos and to experience that shit. So for me, that was dope.
And luckily you evaded having to become a celebrity. You know, you never had to fucking be that cult.
Hey, you know, the celebrities here last for fucking 4 years anyway, so it would have been in and out. They would have forgotten about me real goddamn quick. So I would have taken it and run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but it's all right. I mean, I still have my dignity, and I'm happy with what we accomplished. And you never know. Maybe one day some other producers will come along and say, you know what, we want to go do it. Because I wrote 10 episodes. It was North Africa, it was of course New Zealand, and all kinds of different countries, but they cut it at 3. So it was kind of shit, but whatever.
It's mind-boggling that they would do that. Like, how could they not see the fucking potential in that? You know what I mean? Like, especially with the way things went with all these shit tattoo shows popping up left, right, and center.
Hey, they did about 7 seasons of Ink Master, so I don't know. It was just way cheaper for them. It cost them like $150,000 to do that my show, and for theirs it was like nothing. They could have filmed 3 seasons for $150,000. So it was to them a money thing. I know it, and that's pretty much what it was. I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure. And maybe they were me too, because I was a hardhead as well. I was definitely, there was things I did not want to do, and I was like, I ain't doing that. It's stupid. I ain't saying that. It's stupid. So they got kind of fed up with me, but they'd want me to say really stupid stuff, like written. Obviously, it wouldn't come out of my mouth. I can't say this, man. Anyway.
Yeah, I've known some people on some of those reality shows, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there was a particular situation where there was some script going on about apprentice versus fucking master, and it was prefabricated drama basically, so they kind of did their thing on camera, and then the one guy who I was talking to, he kind of laughed about it afterwards. He's like, oh, that was funny, eh? Like,
oh yeah,
it got heated, but like it was all jokes. And then the other guy fucking took it seriously and was like, no, and he like, it's like he became the guy that the fucking producers are trying to make him.
Well, the producers are in your ear the whole time, telling you this guy's talking shit about you. They do it all the fucking time. They really like to rile the shit up. I mean, if it wasn't for Chris Garver, there would be no Kat Von D. They did not want her on Miami Ink at all. They didn't want her. He pushed for her. He gave her a career.
Oh, wow.
Period. I know people don't like to say that shit, but I'll say it for Chris. He gave Kat Von D a fucking career. He fought for her to be on that fucking show, and then she was an instant hit, and now she's, goddamn rich. And good for her. I'm definitely not a hater, man. I'm down for people making their fucking money. Maybe she was Nurse Nightingale of the past life. Yeah. So yeah, I miss Canada, man. I have to come back up there and visit you guys. I used to travel through Canada a lot in the old days for what I can't say over here, but I used to go that way to get this way. And I spent a lot of time in Vancouver with Dave Shore and in Vancouver Island with some people over there, not tattooers, but motorcycle people. So a lot of riding around in that town. I love Vancouver. I had great times over there. Best
cool.
time.
Yeah, Dave Shore was absolute legend. Hey, like.
I know. I met him in Amsterdam. I had the pleasure of working with him in Amsterdam. So it was like he did a big tattoo on me back in those days. So yeah, he was a legend. He actually died on the same day as my dad.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, really ironically. And what was crazy is my dad was visiting Amsterdam one time, and Dave was working, and they started talking, and my dad used to do pipelines in BC back in the 50s. So, like, he's like, oh, yeah, check this out. And he had a fucking bottle opener from an old bar from the 50s. He still had it. And he goes, and Dave's like, fucking hell, that's that one bar. He knew exactly where it was in some small town. So they got along real well. But Dave was a really, I've seen people get hit real hard in my life by a few of my friends, but I've never seen anybody get hit as hard than Dave would hit somebody. I remember when he knocked his skinhead across the convention hall in Amsterdam in '93. He still had his ash hanging out, his fucking cigarette ash. And he just knocked this guy so fucking hard, he just went flying across the damn thing and sliding across the floor, and this ash didn't even move, Yeah, he was a badass.
Oh, man. Yeah, and to meet him, and to talk to him, especially in his later years, you would never think of him as that guy that could knock somebody across the fucking floor like that. He was quite soft-spoken.
fucking gnarly. I was there around the Healthy Dave shore, you know, for a while there. And I spent some time in the Nanaimo clubhouse. So I got to see some, like, pictures of Dave from the old days. And they were pretty gnarly looking, I gotta say.
Oh, really?
How's old Paul Jeffries doing over there?
Yeah, Paul's still kicking it. Yeah, actually, you know who just got tattooed from him a few years ago? Kurt just got a tattoo from him. It was one of his dreams to get one from him. So he got
cool.
a little souvenir.
Rad, man. Well, if you ever see him, send him my regards. Definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he definitely paved the way for some of the biker Japanese tattooing in Canada, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, that's, you know, there was always a flash. I mean, I even tattooed that tiger on the waterfall on the monk's leg back in '93 in Thailand. I did his whole side of his leg with that one tiger. And I put color in it and blue, and the monk was just so floored because he'd never seen color before, you know.
Oh, wow, cool.
Still has the damn thing. It looks like shit, but the tattoo looks all right. The water looks terrible because I did it all wrong, you know. Like this finger, really bad water.
Yeah.
Before I knew any better. I must have free-handed them.
Where can people, I guess on Instagram,
just get a hold of me on here, you know. I mean, like, you know, I do a lot of custom orders too. People like actually send me pictures of family members and stuff, which sounds crazy, but I like doing that stuff because, I mean, you know, artists have always been commissioned to do, you know, that kind of stuff. You know,
yeah.
Family portraits. I mean, you go through all the old museums, there's people everywhere. Who the hell are they? I don't know. You know, so it's, to me, it's not a sellout. It's kind of nice. So I do that. So I'm also in there, or, you know, you like anybody, but I'm always down to take commissions. And basically, yeah, I'm just always there. Ask any questions, and that's about it. Nothing like that. And you'll see me on the road. I'll be in Europe for September, October. I'll be on that side of the world. So we'll see. I was going to be there now. Obviously, I was telling you, but, you know, Netherlands on Monday became lockdown for Americans. We have to quarantine. And now Germany and Switzerland are for Americans only. So hopefully they don't do Spain within a couple of weeks, but we'll see. It is what it is.
Hopefully things come back to normal soon enough, you know.
Who gives a fuck? I'm surprised this is all that's wrong with the world the way it is. I mean, if this is all we have to do, wear a mask, it is what it is. I can handle that.
Well, it seems like you're doing the right thing with doing what you love, staying happy, and you know, I think you're onto something, man. It's really inspiring talking to you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the, you know, asking me to be on here, and I'd like to thank again my friends that have bought my stuff, and, you know, just people that randomly buy it. I mean, it's great to know it's out there, and I'm really happy that I can have my shit out there, honestly. So I've never been happier, and that's no bullshit. And it's a strange thing to say and admit for a grumpy old English bastard, but, well, yeah, I've never been happier.
Nice, man. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Cool. Well, let's hang out sometime. Maybe I can get up to Vancouver when my passport's right now, so I can do that. You know, when I get my English, I'll probably be more welcome up there with my English and my American. I think.
Yeah, man. Anytime you want to come stay up here, you're more than welcome to stay with us.
I'm yeah, you know what? I'm gonna come up again, man. You know what? If I can organize a show up there, maybe I can get up there and do something.
That would be fucking wicked.
Because what I'd like to do is to go places maybe for a week and just create the art there and then do a show. You know, like do a nice big body of work and have it on the thing. Maybe take a few things with me, but yeah, it'd be easier than transporting the damn thing everywhere.
For sure, for sure. No, that'd be super wicked, man.
All right, mate. Well, cheers. Thank you very much for the invite, and everybody out there, thank you for your love and whatever else. And yeah, up yours.
Or one of these,
mate.
Right?
Thank you, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All
Bye,
right.
mate.
Take care.